All right, traders, welcome to today's recap. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group, and it is Tuesday, August 7th. And I'll tell you, a real nice day again in the market. What a crazy day. What a weird day. Speaking of Tesla, we'll go through that. I'm not going to spend too much time because it's already, I think Tesla saturation at this point. But I want to go over what we did in the room today, how we've been pretty successful the last couple of days, and some strategy for the day. So we are up another 36 basis points. We've been up now 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. We could look at Nasdaq as well. So I've been riding these waves up here. Basically almost back to the 52-week highs. So Nasdaq again, reversal day here. 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Same thing with small caps, which have been very strong as well, up another 30 basis points. We're getting close to that breakout line again, so we've got some retests coming up all over the place. Look, we haven't even crossed an MACD crossover yet, so could get really fun for the small caps if that happens. So, basically, what am I doing today, or what did I do today? I took a lot of profits. After getting long in here, which is basically what I've done over the last couple weeks. Now is the time to take off trades for me. If you're a short-term trader, medium-term trader, you don't really want to be adding a lot of risk. Day trading, fine. You could day trade to your heart's content, but as far as swing trades, it's tough. And we were talking about that at the end of the day. We go over all the option moves in the trading room. We go over all the earnings movers after the close. So, if you're not a member, you're kind of missing out because I just finished that up. We literally go over 45 minutes of that. What names are moving, and it's kind of it's fun to watch some of these names, especially these small cap names for earnings. The last couple weeks it has been more of the bigger names. Apple reported last week. There was all eyes on this. All the bigger names. Amazon, Google. All of those names are behind us. Now it's all the fun names, all the little names, the growth names, small cap. So I'll go over a couple of those names. I'll go over a couple of names that I played. I do like to talk about not only the winners but the losers. I put on this trade, BABA, which I did the right thing. I had calls on originally. I took a target 250 at 213, and then I made it into a call spread. This is a pre-earnings trade, but just something's not right with BABA. I put this chart out on Twitter earlier. Faded. It just cannot hold any bid, and it's done this now a few times. Here, 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 here. So what I like to do is look at the hourly bar for the confirmation, and you could see it did this last week, right? So I like to look to see when a trend change is happening. Look at this. Here, didn't do it. Missed, could not stay in value. Touched in going inside value, could not do it on this day. Then it never got close again. So it tried again. We had one closing bar inside and right back out. So eventually I think this thing turns. But for confirmation purposes, I put this trade on, and that's the danger of putting trades on in the morning, is that sometimes you get false moves. So right now it's a false move for BABA. I was very focused on the Chinese internet names, something that we went over pre-market. So there was some successes in here. Momo had a nice day, up 2.4%. But I'm very focused when China is strong. I like to play the Chinese internet. If China is not strong overnight, I don't look at them as seriously. BZUN was the other name that I sent out to members this morning to take a look at. Very good. So unfortunately, I took BABA. Didn't work out very well. But I'm still long that trade, and I'm long for a pre-earnings run. But just to give you an idea of everything else, I put on a CRM trade yesterday. Was able to hit 2 targets in that one. 215. Paid 148 yesterday. So I have the balance on, but I'm taking targets. KEM, small trade. Another trade, look at this one. Small trade I had on. Was able to take this thing off. It had earnings 340 for 110. Paid 110, excuse me. Morgan Stanley, which I added to yesterday, took off right around the highs of the day. And I'll show you the chart in Morgan Stanley. The banks were strong early. There was some call buying. So you could sell into the call buying. I know a lot of people don't talk about that on Twitter, but selling into call buying works exceptionally well. Not establishing trades, right? You want to, you want to sell a lot of the times into call buying because a lot of it is momentum stuff. And I'm not talking about when they go out 3 or 4 months for call buying. I'm talking about when they buy weeklies. Those are good places sometimes to sell when they're buying the momentum. The two different types of call buying that we see all the time. Weekly stuff where people are trying to play momentum. They're trying to play breakouts. I call that the dumb call buying. And the smart call buying when they're going out a couple months. So we saw a couple of those orders. I'll show you a couple of those, I think, smarter orders. But that's my characterization of it. So notice Morgan Stanley, we got to the top of value. Here's where I took my profits. Move all the way through. So again, I just took a target. I did not, I can always get back into that trade. I also got out of my Netflix trade today. Bought back a short put spread, 118, sold it for 330. I got out of the residual of my Amazon trade, 850 for 375. That's in my game plan for basically this year. Whenever Amazon gets a little bit weak, I want to be doing things like selling put spreads and buying call spreads, which was sent out to members last week on the dip in Amazon. Here is my signal. If you remember, I went over this last week. First bar into value, and I went long there. Google also had a pretty decent day. That was in the weekend newsletter. We talked about that name. Also, VPOC taken out, place to take targets. All right. Then just a couple earnings trade that we did. I had 2 earnings trades go very well. What were they? I'm trying to remember. Oh, Mosaic. For a triple. Off for a triple today. So if we go to our earnings channel where we put in our earnings trades. So a couple trades have been working really well. We put on a nice match trade. Selling the 39.36, which looks like that's going to work. Zebra. Out of Zebra for 430, $5 wide call spread for out at 430, paid 190. And then look at the last target I took on Mosaic. 120, paid 40 cents yesterday. The reason why I got turned on to this name is looking at some of the other names in the space and what they did for earnings, such as CF. Great initials on that stock, by the way. Yeah, so match. So we'll go through a couple earnings, a couple names for earnings. So I did not get filled on my call spread, which is a little bit, I put it in there. I did not get filled at 80 cents, but I did sell put spreads in this, so that's going to be a winner there. A couple other names, and again, I don't mind going over the losers. Jazz, I put on a long call spread. Their guidance was a little bit, did not meet expectations. This quarter was good. I don't know if they did a little bit of sandbagging. I also played Penuba to the long side, and they had really good numbers. Let's see if I can bring this up on Bloomberg. There we go. Let's see. Whoops, there's the numbers. 420 versus so guidance. They beat guidance. They're 420 to 425. Revenues 109 versus 106, and 37 cents versus 3 cents. A couple other names that I'll just share with you. I know there's a ton. I could go over this for 15 minutes, and I don't want to make a 15-minute video, and because I want to talk about strategy for the day and the option flow. But HDP had good numbers, not great numbers, but beat on the top line, the bottom line, and the guidance was strong. And then AAOI, like I said, there's about 15 more names. Shutterfly is another name. Snap. Snap, I'm not sure why that name is up. I think somebody took a stake in it because their subscription numbers went down. But AAOI, 87 versus 77, 64 versus 44. Disney, I know that's the big name, and you're going to hear about that one on CNBC forever. Look at AAOI up 47. I'm long 100 shares of this name. So that works. Disney, I did not play Disney. Why did I not play Disney for earnings? Even though it's actually recovered here. But I did not play earnings for Disney because look at the history. So this is what we go through, what we go over in the trading room. They just do not have great earnings. They don't have a great reaction to earnings, I should say, at least in the last year. So I look for consistency, and there hasn't been any good consistency. On the other line, why I played Penn, maybe a name that you're not familiar with, because look at the consistency. Really nice. They haven't had one quarter where the price has gone down after earnings. Hopefully it's not this one. Okay, so option activity. I'll go over about 5 different names. Some good option activity. But I want to go over strategy that's more important than any particular signal. Dow DuPont, which I think the Nigerians already mentioned this trade, but this name, just as they said, had great earnings, and the price sold off a little bit. So Dow DuPont, if you want to wait for this name to get over the 200-day moving average, I think it's right there. Actually sold off a little bit, so you could probably get in cheaper tomorrow. Again, a lot of the order flow that you see on the tape every day, if you just wait a day for swing trades, you can get into the trade cheaper. Why isn't this moving? So something's wrong, probably my memory. 200-day moving average is right there for Dow DuPont. So you could wait if you want to. If you wait a couple days till after the name reported earnings. After the today's options, the options might get a little bit cheaper because they bleed out the implied volatility. A few other names that were pretty interesting. Corvo. This thing looks like it's trying to break out. And again, this is the more quality option flow. I call it more of the smarter money. Look, they're going out to February. A name that's already reported earnings, had great results, great guidance, didn't really react on earnings for whatever reason. And it looks like it's trying to break out. So somebody's looking for a breakout after all this consolidation. So I really like this trade going out giving it some time to work. That's Corvo. There was a lot of gold buying today too. Not huge size. Click, KLIC. A name that I've played before on option flow, and it's worked pretty well for me. So another name that has reported earnings already. I'm pretty sure. They're buying some September calls. I think you could look for a move back to highs in this one. Yep, already reported earnings, so that's out of the way. So again, much better quality quality caliber of the option flow after a name has reported earnings. Some of them are going out several months. I think there was one other trade that I wanted to go through. But, so what do you do on a day like this, right? When you see option flow like this? Some of it is a little bit longer term, but if you're doing what I'm doing and you're taking off trades at this point, especially shorter term trades after a big move up, I'm really not looking to add any new exposure. Even though sometimes really good order flow shows up after a 3 or 4 day move, you have to frame this in your system. So if you want to participate in names like Click, which is only out to September, in my opinion, what I do is to participate, I take much smaller size than I normally would. Or maybe I go out a little bit further. They bought September, you could go out to October. These are all things that you could do. But I basically try to trick myself because I do not want to be adding exposure up here. I want to be taking exposure off. And again, I practice what I preach. You could go into my earnings, to my trades blotter, which I just showed you. Look at all the names that I've taken off. CRM, FIVN, Netflix, Amazon. So I'm busy taking off targets as well as the earnings trades. Chem took a target in this one as well. All right, so that's the name of the game. As we're, I think, getting kind of top of the swing after 4 days in a row, got to be taking off money here, and then watching the VIX. Right, the VIX will tell you. I have up the 3 measures of the VIX that I watch because again, different things. I'm not just trading S&P names, which the VIX is for. The VXN is for the Qs. and the RVX is for IWM. Once these start to rally hard, that's when I will start to put my protection on. Notice we almost got there. We almost jumped above the 200 period moving average on the 5-minute bar. That would be a place where I would add a little bit of protection because we're getting really low levels here in the VIX at this point. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video and have a great night.